All rise. Judge Vanda B. Court is now in session. Judge, this is case number JVB 1016, Cheney case. Judge, both parties have been sworn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all may be seated. Okay. Is it Miss or Mrs. Cheney?
Mrs.
Mrs. Cheney.
Remarried.
You brought this case before the court. What's going on?
So, we were friends. We went out for drinks after a promotion, and everybody else left. It left us two. Had a little too much to drink. Anyway, I ended up pregnant. He's completely out of the picture. Doesn't answer text calls, whatever. All of a sudden, he comes to me and says he wants to be a part of our kid's life. And I said, okay, well, you're going to have to give me child support. I'm not just going to let you all of a sudden be dad, you know. And
how old is the child?
He's 18 months.
Okay.
18 months, yep.
Mrs. with a bombshell. What started as a celebration between friends, one promotion, a few too many drinks, turned into something much bigger. Fast forward 18 months, and she's raising their child on her own. For an entire year, the father disappeared. No texts, no calls, no financial help. Now, out of the blue, he wants to step in and play dad. Her response? Steady but firm. Not without child support. She's calm, but the weariness in her voice says it all. She's been carrying this burden alone. As the courtroom fills with a quiet tension, it's obvious this won't be an easy back and forth. One thing is certain. This is far from a typical co-parenting story.
Okay, continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. So he's like, well, I can't pay child support, but I'll pay the daycare bill. Daycare is $8.55 a month. Okay. He claims he only makes $24,000 a year. That adds up to almost half his income, if that's what he actually said. I mean, this is not the way a guy who lives a life of $24,000. I mean, that suit probably costs like, I don't know, half that or something.
It is a nice suit.
I shop clearance.
Okay.
I do pretty well on sales.
He shops on clearance.
Okay. I've never seen that suit at JCPenney, but all right.
Okay. So $855 a month in daycare. You say you make $24,000 a year.
$24,000 a year, that is
And
correct.
I do have his tax returns that he produced showing $24,000 a year, but you're self-employed?
That is correct.
So you did your own tax return?
I do, yes.
So is it accurate, or did you manipulate it?
If you're questioning if I'm being honest in my tax returns,
Yes.
I am being honest in my tax returns, Your Honor.
Okay. And I can only go based off of what he produces. Living wise, do you live with someone?
I'm in an apartment sharing situation right now with the money I make every month, and with basically close to half of my salary going to pay for daycare for our child. I've got to share. I can't afford my own place on my own.
Okay.
Cheney isn't buying the dad's claim that he only makes $24,000 a year, especially when he's somehow affording $850 a month for daycare. She points to his sharp, designer-looking suit, and he fires back with a quick eye-shot clearance defense. The judge examines his self-prepared tax documents, noting that while they're thin, it's all he has to work with. Meanwhile, the dad paints a picture of a modest life, shared groceries, split bills, a roommate just to get by. But Mrs. Cheney isn't convinced. The numbers don't add up, and she's not shy about saying so. It's financial chess in the courtroom, but she's the only one holding receipts.
And living expenses, they're shared between your roommates?
Pretty much we kind of split the groceries, things like that. Utilities get split evenly.
Okay. Well, then that kind of makes sense. So you're asking, what exactly are you asking for him to do?
My name is Naru Witherspoon. I'm an attorney licensed in Illinois, Texas, and Missouri, and I represent families across the nation.
And I want to talk to
Today, I want to tell you about Vonda Bailey. Vonda Bailey is a seasoned family law attorney who specializes in high-profile and high-net-worth cases. If you're a high-value individual, someone with significant assets, multiple properties, complex compensation packages, or substantial retirement accounts, Vonda Bailey is the attorney you need to call. She understands the intricacies of wealth protection and division, and she knows how to navigate sensitive, high-stakes situations with skill and precision. Yes, she might come with a higher price tag, but
My point is
trust
that
me,
it
she's
seems
worth
kind of
every
sketchy
penny.
that he can afford
Vonda Bailey is
almost
not just
$900
an
a month in
attorney.
daycare.
She's an
but
advocate for
won't pay
those who
child
need
support.
strategic
I feel like
and
there's something
powerful
going on with the money
representation.
situation.
If that's you,
There's got to be a
don't
reason
wait.
why
Give her
he's doing things the way
a
he
call
does.
today.
So you want him
Music
to pay $855 in daycare and child support?
I mean, he wants to be a part of his life.
That
for the
wasn't
first
my question.
Okay.
Do you want him to pay $855 in daycare as well as pay child support on top of that?
I want us to be able to talk and discuss and find a number that works for both of us and that I think is fair.
Okay.
Just because I make more money than him doesn't mean I should be covering all of the child's expenses. $855 is daycare.
I definitely agree with that. I agree with that.
The judge cuts to the chase. Does Mrs. Cheney want both daycare expenses and child support? She dodges the question, saying she's just looking for a fair conversation, but her frustration is written all over her face. She's been covering everything, and just because she earns more doesn't mean she should shoulder it all alone. The judge steps in with a reality check. Under Texas law, he can't order the father to pay both child support and daycare unless they reach an agreement. It's a moment of clarity, and you can see it hit Mrs. Cheney that this is more complex than she thought.
What is the middle ground that you're looking for? Because legally, he cannot pay daycare and child support. I mean, you can't have it both ways. So what would be a middle ground for you? I mean, you can't have it both ways. So what would be a middle ground for you?
I guess we'd have to kind of discuss what would be child support versus daycare and how the parental responsibilities would change. Would he get them on weekends? Would he get them on holidays? Things like that. So,
Well,
because he doesn't live real close either, you know.
Well, we're here today, so let's discuss it. Like I said, he cannot pay daycare on top of child support. It just can't happen. So if you were to give him a number that's in between the $24,000 because when you break that down based on child support for one child, it's not a lot of money.
Mrs. Cheney admits she's overwhelmed. No lawyer, no prior experience with child support, just doing her best to navigate it all. The judge patiently walks her through the process, step by step, reminding her that the court is bound by the law, not just what feels fair. She recalls the time their son was hospitalized and how she handled every medical bill on her own. When asked why he didn't help, the father says his income hasn't changed, but concedes he should have stepped in sooner. The tension between them is undeniable, but so is the mutual regret.
If you were, let's say it's about $300 in child support. If you add that to $855, you're talking about child support in excess of $1,000. Are you asking that he pay $1,000 in child support?
I guess not exactly.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out why you're here and what you're asking me to do.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the situation with him. I don't have a law degree. I don't have a lawyer. I don't know exactly how these things work.
Okay. And I'm helping you guys as much as I can.
Yeah, so I didn't know that you couldn't do daycare and child support. And I don't know I've never had child support before. I have no idea. I don't know, what you can do, what you can't do, what happens with visitation and stuff like that. He was absent the entire first year, completely absent. So I paid 100% of everything. He was in the hospital after he was born. I took care of those bills.
And you didn't give her any money?
Not at that point, Your Honor, no.
What was the reason for that?
Things start to settle. Mrs. Cheney drops a bombshell. "You knocked me up and left." The room shifts. She even hints there might be more children he doesn't know about, and the shade is undeniable. Courtroom tension at its peak. The judge quickly steps in to restore order, reminding them both that they were equally responsible that night and There's one child at the center of this case. But the emotion in the room tells a deeper story. This isn't just about money. It's about abandonment, resentment, and a mother finally demanding accountability. The gloves are off, but the judge keeps the focus sharp. This is about the child, not the
In the same situation I am now. Again, being self-employed, my income has not gone up. There was a little bit of a disconnect between the two of us. I probably, looking back, should have stepped in sooner, and that's all I'm trying to do now.
Okay.
I want to have a relationship with our son. The amount I'm paying on a monthly basis is already, again, 45% or so.
It's a lot.
Of my income. I don't know the percentages, et cetera, what I'm required to do. I feel I'm already stepping up, and by paying the full daycare, as far as I know, and I've talked to some friends, I'm paying more than percentages, et cetera, what I'm required to do. I feel I'm already stepping up, and by paying the full daycare, as far as I know, and I've talked to some friends, I'm paying more than I actually have to.
He actually is. Because if we were to break down, based on what it is that he makes, if we were to break down, and you only have one child? Yeah. Okay, if we were to break down
That he knows of. Let's just go ahead and
What
put
was
that.
that? How will you know?
Well, he knocked me up and left for a year. So, I mean, there might be some other women out there
Wait a minute, in fairness.
that may not be able to count how many partners they've been with, but I know it was his kid.
In fairness, he wasn't alone in knocking you up.
I get that.
You
And I
kinda
took
played
100%
a
responsibility
fair
for
role
that
in
child
it.
for a
So
full
let's not
12
blame
months.
it on him.
Okay.
Let's not blame it
Okay.
all on him. You have one child, correct? Okay, so let's stick to what is in front of us. We're not worrying about any other children that may be out there. So based on the financial documents that he provided at 20%.
The judge does the math. Based on the father's reported income, standard child support would be $349 a month. But since he's already paying $855 for daycare, that amount now becomes his official obligation. Add $113 to reimburse Mrs. Cheney for health insurance, and the total comes to $968 per month. Mrs. Cheney tries to bring up his bar tab habits, but the judge shuts it down. This isn't about lifestyle choices. The message is clear. The father is already contributing above the required amount, and this ruling makes it official. No more emotional arguments. The court is setting the terms, and they're final. Voice next voice.
His child support should only be about $349. Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. My name is Vonda Bailey and I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Texas, and I handle matters that are related to child support, child custody, divorce, and adoption. So if you need help in any one of those areas, please feel free to give me a call. And then health insurance is paid through you.
Yes.
How much do you pay?
It's like 130 or something a month. It comes right out of my check, so I'm not sure the exact amount of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm looking
130,
at
133, something like that.
I'm looking at what you also turned in. It looks like it's about $113.
13, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do to make it fair, because he is paying about.
Voice next. His child support obligation should technically be just $349. Voice next. Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. My name is Vonda Bailey, and I'm a licensed attorney in the state of Texas. I specialize in family law, including child support, custody, divorce, and adoption. If you need assistance in any of these areas, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm Babe.
Care amount is. That's the fairest way to do it. At least we know that by you paying daycare, the child's daycare expense is covered each month. So that's something you do not have to worry about. And you will have to reimburse her for the health insurance that she has on the child. So when you add the $855 plus the $113, it comes out to $968 a month in child support. So $968 would be all that he pays. And out of that, that would include whatever, if you change daycares, let me just make sure I'm very clear on this. If you change daycares and the amount goes up to $1,000, all he's responsible for is the $855 for the daycare. That's it. That's all you're responsible for. But the health insurance, if you have health insurance available through your job, you can enroll the child under health insurance and remove that $113 additional charge, and you'll be only responsible for $855.
To make sure I understand, so I'm already paying $855 a month as compared to the $349 that you calculated I should be responsible for. So now we're saying, well, instead of basing it off of $349, potentially lowering it, or at least the two of us coming to some sort of agreement saying, you know, I'm already paying 45% of my salary. I've got to pay now $968 a month, which is, again, more than double what I'm supposed to be paying in child support.
You've been paying, although it's 3 times the amount, you've been comfortably paying this. This isn't something that she necessarily, well, when I say comfortably, I don't know your financial situation, but you've been paying it for some time.
With roommates and
right.
TV
and I
dinners.
I understand, but under Texas law, we can deviate from what the guideline support should be if we find good reason to do it. And daycare expenses, they are considered one of those reasons. Now, if you two, while you're here, you want to agree to a lesser amount, if you want to meet in the middle and say, let's say you decide to do $700, let's say you decide to say $750, that's what you can do. But based on what you all have been telling me, you've been paying daycare, it's $855. That would be in the best interest of the child to at least make sure that the daycare expense is covered. So, like I said, if you guys decide to come with something different, you can come back and modify that, and I'd be happy to enter in the number that you all come up with. Is there anything further today? Okay. Anything further?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, there's nothing further. You all are dismissed.